Hello Booktube, my name is Kate and this is my channel Chapter K. Today we're going to be doing my TBR video for February. In February I'm going to be participating in 3 month-long readathons. The first readathon, of course, is Valentines, which is my creation along with my co-hosts Sarah from Novel Serendipity and Leah from the World of Leah Jane. We also have a whole list of awesome co-hosts that are going to be doing our live shows with us, our Twitter sprints, Instagram prompts, and video prompts. Second, I'm participating in BlackAThon, which is hosted by Jesse from Bowties and Books, The Novel Lush, and Francina Simone. And the third readathon is the BooktubeGames, which was created by Myona at Little Wolf Reads, and I am on Team Neverland. And I am ready to fight. Why am I like this? There's always been a soft place in my heart for the Lost Boys. And now I'm one of them. And everyone else is going down. Okay, so let's get into the books. I'm going to be going through the books in order of which readathon requires the most books or prompts the most books. So the first one is the BooktubeGames, of course, because it only actually prompts you to read one specific book. And the rest of the month are just challenges to help you get ahead. And it's a competition, so you're trying to read more pages than the other team. And each team has 2 hosts that chose a group book for your team. And the 2 hosts for Neverland are Mika August and Jessica Nicole Dickerson. And they chose Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nyan. I bought this book after seeing Jessie from Bowties and Books talk about it so often. Jessie's never steered me wrong, so gonna read it now. Plus I got like the exclusive edition at Barnes & Noble, so. Now on to the BlackAThon challenges. For the BlackAThon there are 5 challenges. The first challenge is Feel the Love, and this is read a book that is featuring a romance between a black character and another character of color. I actually had to consult Twitter about this because since I haven't read most of the books that I'm trying to read this month, I didn't know what kind of romances were in books, if there were romances in these books, things like that. And I found out that there is a great romance in Children of Blood and Bone between 2 black characters, and this has been sitting on my shelves for a while, so I'm glad to finally get to it. This book is inspired by Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that is pretty much all I needed to know about it to pick it up, but it's also based in West African mythology, and the main character's name is Zaylee, who is trying to sort of restore magic, as far as I understand, to her homeland? Yes. In this book, citizens are kind of separated by class, and girls in the, I guess, paper class are given to the king once a year. One girl is chosen and is given to the king to serve him. And from what it's implied, I believe it's in a sexual nature, but I don't really know. It just kind of seems that way. But I think this is sort of featuring a character who is more ready to fight. I think in the blurb it said something about her being made of fire instead of paper. And I've also heard there are a lot of sapphic elements in this book, so I can't wait to get to it. And I just realized my microphone ain't plugged in. The next BlackAThon prompt is Wakanda Forever. And this is read a comic book or graphic novel featuring a black main character. So for this challenge, I was just going to go with Saga, Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. How do I know Brian K. Vaughan? I figured it out. It was Paper Girls. I have no idea what Saga's about. It looks like a fantasy book. I heard it's very adult and very action-y, and I really like action-y things, especially in graphic novels, because I really feel like there's a lot of room to be really creative with the visualization of action scenes. Ew. I've also heard it's kind of smutty, and I don't mind that. But for this challenge, of course, I'm going to do more than one graphic novel because I love graphic novels. And the second one is Black Panther, The Complete Collection, Volume 1. I got this in a used bookstore, and I love the Black Panther, and I love the story behind it, and I loved the movie, and I can't wait to read more into it because I feel like the books, the graphic novels, can give more insight into the whole process of the Black Panther and, you know, the plants and the sort of traditions that go along with that in that community and all that stuff with T'Challa and his family in Wakanda. The next challenge is Hear Us, and this is read any book that is by a black author. For this one I'm going to sing? For this one I'm going to read I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. And I got this book after winning a giveaway from Ingrid in Neverland. Ingrid is an amazing person with an amazing channel, and I don't know how I got so lucky to win her giveaway. I actually won 3 books, so I asked her what her favorite book was, and I got that one along with 2 others that I've been wanting, and this was one of them. This is a very small book, and I don't know if it's going to be a quick read or not, but I have a couple of patients currently that I work with that really like Maya Angelou, and I feel like if I read her work, I'd be more able to connect with them. Next is More Than a Color, and this is read a book featuring a black character who is also a member of another marginalized group. So maybe they're disabled, maybe they have a mental illness, maybe they are part of the LGBTQIA plus community. And this is another one that made me turn to Twitter and ask them, because I don't really know since I haven't read a lot of these. And so they said that the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin featured a character who was black and also part of the LGBTQIA plus community. Leah from Where in the World is Leah Jane gave me all 3 of the books in this trilogy, and so I'm really excited to get into them, and hopefully I'll be able to just like read them all in the beginning of this year rather than like spreading them way out like I typically do with series and trilogies. But I'm very excited. N.K. Jemisin won the Hugo Award 3 years in a row, which is I don't believe has ever been done before, which is awesome. So it's got to be good. From what I understand, sort of skimming, is that the world ends every so often and they have to kind of deal with all that balance of power that goes along with that situation. And then the last challenge of BlackAthon is In This Together, and that is read the group book, which is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I have already read this book and I loved it so much and I cannot wait to read it again. I'm considering getting the audiobook for this, because since this book is written in a slam poetry format and the audiobook is read by the author herself, I think that would be a great experience and a great new way to digest this book. The main character in this book is named Siomata, and she is dealing with racism, bullying, family expectations, dealing with difficulty with religion, finding herself, finding who she is. And honestly, I felt that this book was really beautifully done, and I can't wait to read it again. Next we have Valentines, and for Valentines, there are actually 18 book challenges. There are other challenges too, but those are not specific reading challenges. For a lot of these, you can double up, and I'm probably going to, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to list a separate book for almost every challenge, because I am a mood reader and I am very likely to switch it up. I've already filmed this video 3 times, and every single time the books have been different. The first book is Cold Shower, and this is read a book that's rumored to have a steamy scene in it. I don't read romance novels, so I picked a fantasy novel that I know has a steamy scene in it, or at least I've heard has a steamy scene in it. And this is Nevernight by J. Kristoff. I don't really know much about this except for that there's an assassin, and that's a buzzword for me. So here we are. The next is Roses Are Red, and this is read a book that has red on the cover. I already have a couple that I've listed, but for the sake of having a large selection, I'm going to say In Darkness by Nick Lake. This is a book I just recently picked up at a used bookstore, and this is a book about a Haitian boy who gets crushed under a hospital that fell during an earthquake. And as he's going in and out of consciousness, he connects with another consciousness of a former slave turned revolutionary leader from the past, the distant past. And it kind of goes through that leader's life as well as his life in those two Hades side by side. The next challenge is Beautiful on the Shelf, and this is read a book with a beautiful cover. I have a ton because I'm a cover buyer. But I'm going to say for this challenge, On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. And if you look at this, it has like an acrylic paint spill sort of look to the cover there. And it's just really gorgeous, and it's a graphic novel. The art's beautiful. It's about these 2 girls that go to a space school and they fall in love with each other, I'm pretty sure. It's also a space opera, which I'm honestly really into right now. And I'm actually going to be doing a buddy read of this book with several other people who are in the Booktube games. The next is Gift That Keeps Giving. I read a ton of my Christmas gifts already this month, but there are still plenty of Christmas gifts and also early birthday gifts that I've gotten that are books, and this book is one of those early birthday presents, and that is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. I already have a copy of Neverwhere, but this is the illustrated edition, which I've been really wanting. I love Neil Gaiman, and I would like to collect as many editions of his books as possible. It's got really cool illustrations. It's just really gorgeous, and I'm excited to reread this because I really loved it the first time and I want to fall back in love with it. Neverwhere is honestly such an amusing book. The main character is just an everyday guy who runs into this girl named Door who can create doors to different dimensions. And the main character, who I believe his name is Richard, starts being able to see the fantasy world alongside his own world. It's kind of parallel. And these 2 guys are chasing Door, and he's kind of trying to help her, and he found that his entire life changed just because she sort of stumbled into his path. And this was given to me as an early birthday present from Lori at Lori's Book Trials. Lori's a small booktuber, and you should definitely check her out. I love the way she talks about books, and I am so glad that I found her channel. And also, I really appreciate this. Thank you, Lori. On top of that, I'm going to be buddy reading this book with Maris from Under the Cover. Maris has really cool, like, dramatic, like, skit videos. And honestly, I just want Maris to have a TV show. The next book is heartwarming, and this is read a book that's either been heartwarming to you in the past or that someone else has told you would be heartwarming. And for this one, I'm going to say Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. I have heard so many things about this. I believe that this was the group book for the Witchathon. I'm not sure which Witchathon. But everyone who's read it said it was extremely heartwarming and that it was a beautifully written book. Basically, this town leaves a girl in the woods, I believe every year on the solstice maybe, and for a witch to take because they feel like, I guess it'll keep them safe. And the witch actually feeds them starlight, but this girl is left in the woods and the witch feeds her moonlight, and so she, I think, develops magic. But then again, that's just a rough estimate because I have no idea. Next is Forgotten Love, and this is read a book that you've DNF'd. For me, I'm not going to read a book if I DNF'd it because I didn't want to read it, but I will pick a book back up that I sort of stopped reading just because I got distracted or busy. And for this one, I'm going to read Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. This is a dystopian novel about a society in which firemen set fires rather than putting them out. And they have a tendency to burn books, because books make people open-minded and make people think, and they're terrified of that. The next challenge is Black History Month, and this is read a book by a Black author, and that is The Bells by Danielle Clayton. My version is signed because I met her at Read Up Greenville in October. I didn't know this book was a fantasy book, so when I found out that it was and I heard her talk so much about it, I immediately needed to read this. Basically, it's a society, I think, where everybody's sort of blah and the same. And then there are these people called the Bells who can change your skin color, your hair, your height, your size, anything about you to make you more beautiful. And I think they can also make you ugly, but I don't know. And they called it Puppy Love. Next is Puppy Love, read a middle grade book. And for this one, I'm going to be reading Willa of the Wood by Robert Beatty. This book takes place in the Smoky Mountains, and it is featuring a night spirit named Willa. And she's kind of like a will-o'-the-wisp. And the reason I was drawn to this, besides the fact that I already love Robert Beatty's work because he brought magic to my neck of the woods, I'm also writing something that features the same mythology surrounding the same type of creature. And so I thought it would be really interesting to read this book. Look at that. That's a pretty book. I like all the blues and the woods and the magic. Then we have Living Single. And this is read a standalone book. I hope this is a standalone book, but I'm not sure. And this is The Assassination of Brangwain Spurge. I hope I'm saying it right. It sounds, maybe it's Welsh. It's by M.T. Anderson and Eugene Yelchin. And it's got a little dude on it. And honestly, I got it for the pictures. And it looked really quirky. And I don't really want any other information about it. I'd much rather it be a surprise. Next one is Together Forever, and this is Buddy Read a Book. I'm actually buddy reading several books during the month. I'm going to be participating in the Buddy Read Roulette in my Valentines readathon, and that is going to pair me up with someone random, and we're going to kind of find a buddy read. But I'm also going to be buddy reading Neverwhere, Children of Blood and Bone, and On a Sunbeam. I forgot to mention that, but Children of Blood and Bone is going to be a huge buddy read with some other people in Team Neverland as well. Then we have By Any Other Name, and this is Read a Banned Book. I'm not going to put up an additional book for this one because there are several banned books already on this list, including I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings and Fahrenheit 451. Then we have To the Ends of the Earth, and this is read a book that has been translated. For this one, I'm going to be reading Blood of Elves by Andrzej Sapkowski. I've started this book already, and then I lost my place and then never got back to it, so I'm just going to start over. This is the first book in the Witcher series that's not like a book of short stories. I've already read the 2 prequels, which are just short story books. And this is the first like official book in the series. And this series is translated from Polish. And this book is translated from Polish. It's featuring a man named Geralt who is a witcher, and witchers are basically raised to kill monsters, and it's a huge deal because people kind of call him a monster because it's kind of rumored that witchers don't have any feelings, and he's actually really sensitive about that, ironically enough. Then we have 5 stars, and this is read a book that someone that you know has given 5 stars. My husband did not give this specific book 5 stars, but he gave the series 5 stars, and that is Gardens of the Moon from Malazan Book of the Fallen series. These books have a lot of pages, so we'll see if I get to it, and a very large group of characters, and it's a very complex universe and a very long, very high fantasy series. It's a lot. Then we have More to Love, and this is read a book that's over 400 pages. A lot of the books up here are over 400 pages, so I'm not adding an additional book for that. And then the next one is Happily Ever After, and this is read a fairy tale retelling. And mine is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik, and this was actually sent to me as an early birthday present from Rachel Marie. It's a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin, and I am so happy to read it. I read Uprooted by Naomi Novik, and I enjoyed it so much, so I cannot wait to get into this one as well. Then we have Skinny Love And for this one, it's read a book that is under 200 pages. And for this one, I'm going to read I Hate Fairyland Volume 2, Fluff My Life. This was sent to me by Sarah at Novel Serendipity. It's a really funny series about this little girl with green hair who falls into fairyland, and it's supposed to just be a one-day thing. She solves the quest and she gets to go home, but something happens. She can't solve the quest. She's there for like 36 years, but she's stuck in the same body. She's very murderous and angry, obviously. And it's by Scotty Young, who also writes Deadpool comics, so it's very funny. And I'm enjoying it. And the last two challenges I'm not going to pull out an extra book for. One is Sharing is Caring, and this is complete a reading challenge for another readathon. I'm already in 2 other ones, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to go and check it off once I read something from those. And the other one is Library Lovers Month, and this is to read a book from the library. I don't currently have a library card, so I'm going to see if I can get into the library. If not, I might read one from the library at work. But those are all my books for my February TBR, for the Booktube Valentines readathon, for the BlackAthon, and for the Booktube Games. If you are not on Team Neverland, I'm coming for you. But if you are, good luck. Comment below with any readathons or read-alongs that you're participating in the month of February. My birthday is in February, so that's exciting. February 19th. And if you would like more of this junk, subscribe below. Bye!
Tripping over shadows and I'm drowning in the night. I feel the soldiers coming and I'm putting up a fight. I feel my